The following cooking video is brought to you by Bub and Mothers, makers of Down East Dinner Dust and Honey and Heat. For meat rubbed right, it's Bub and Mothers. And don't forget, May is National Barbecue Month, so get out there and grill. Okay, it's John Furman here with Bub and Mothers. Got my new Bub and Mothers official hat on. Today we've got enough nice weather, and I've got this real big desire for a nice rack of ribs. So we're gonna smoke some ribs today. Normally, you know, you're gonna be looking at 2.5 to 3 hours. Again, this is not a competition smoke, so we're just smoking them to cook so that you have the flavor. And we've got our fire going here. We're gonna start adding some wood, and we'll show you that in a second. But we'll be ready. The ribs are set. They're sitting in the rub right now, and we'll be bringing them out here shortly. Okay, these ribs are facing down. The reason is, one of the tips I learned early on with ribs is there is a membrane on it, and you want to just take it off. Just poke it with a knife and grab it with a paper towel. It comes off a lot easier that way when you do it. Okay? And, you know, you just want to rip it off because the rub will get in better, and you won't, when you bite into a rib, you won't have a piece smacking you in the mouth. So it also makes for a neater plate. So pull that off. And again, you want to grip it with a paper towel. It just doesn't slide out of your hands as quick. And we'll get this all done, and then we're going to rub it up and check on our fire. So we'll be right back. Yep, when prepping the smoker, I like to start with charcoal. Let it get to a good burn, probably about 15-20 minutes. And then I'll start laying the hardwood on it. Get it ready, get it to temperature, and then we're going to start cooking. So we're going to be using, as you can see, Kingsford hickory for the base, and then some applewood chunks for a little extra flavor in the smoke. Hey, it's John Furman here again from Bub and Mothers. Weather forecast is for an awesome weekend up here in Maine, and I know for the rest of you, spring is here. But it's a sad day when you realize on Friday, planning your first outdoor cooking event, that you're out. No spice, no original Down East Dinner Dust. We've got that problem solved. That's right. Starting right away, you can visit our website at www.bubandmothers.com and enroll in Bub's Rub Club. We've got a bunch of different combinations depending on how much use you get out of our dry rubs. You can order one a month. You can have it alternate. 1 month you'll get Dinner Dust, the next month you get Honey and Heat. You can order one of each every month. However you want to do it. We've got a whole series of combinations. Best of all, when you commit and subscribe for a year, we're only going to bill you monthly, and it'll save you probably about $30 a year. So hey, do yourself a favor. Visit our website, learn a little bit more about us, and join Bub's Rub Club, and never have a sad day like this. Another tip with the ribs, these are spare ribs, is there's a piece here where you have a solid piece of bone, and it just makes for bad cutting. So we're just going to kind of break through that so that we end up with individual ribs. Now this thing has some meat on it, so we're going to cook it as well. But we're cutting through bone, so there we go. So it's a nice flavorful piece, but it really messes you up when you're trying to cut your ribs. Right, and on mine, I prefer to use the Down East Dinner Dust so that I get more of that pork flavor. You can use the Honey and Heat if you like to kick it up a little bit, and You can even use our recipe to make a sauce if you like them, your ribs with sauce on them, or wet, as they say. All right, so we got our ribs all rubbed up, and what we're going to be looking for over the next few hours is the meat will draw back from the bone. So you'll have bones sticking out at the very end, which helps you obviously know where to cut, but more importantly, it lets you know that the meat is being done. Again, we're going to cook it low and slow over some nice smoke, get that good flavor, and really enjoy a rack of ribs today. So we'll be right back and ready to show you some more. Oh yeah. Yep, that smoker is getting going and warming up a bit. So in a couple minutes, we're going to go ahead and add these choice pieces of meat. Want to get that temperature up a couple more degrees, just so that by the time they go in there, they'll start cooking right away and getting some of that good smoke flavor. I mean, if you could just smell what's coming out of the stack now without even any of the spice blend or the ribs, it's just really amazing. So we'll get there in a second. We'll be right back. Hey, it's John Furman again from Bub and Mother's, and you know what? It's May, and May is National Barbecue Month. I didn't know if they invented it for us up here in Maine with Bub and Mother's, but we're going to take advantage. Even though it's kind of cloudy today, about 48 degrees, but you know what? It's not raining, it's not snowing, so we're smoking. And when we come back, we're going to take a look at that fine rack of ribs. All right, so we're putting them on here. As you can see, these gloves are amazing. They're like a rubber glove, but with these dots on them, you're really protected from the heat, so that if you have to reach right down on the grill and move things around, you're not going to burn your hands, and you have more control over the meat. So let's close it down and get her to cooking. We'll see you in a few hours. Now, if you've been watching a lot of our earlier recordings, when I make coleslaw, I like to use the avocado mayonnaise. What I also like is I'm partial to the honey and heat. I want this coleslaw to have a little bit more of a bite than the meat, so we're gonna use that to mix it all up. So we're gonna add the honey and heat, just again to taste. And you know, you may have to experiment a little bit to get it the right mixture for you. Okay, you know, and if you're not used to it, start off light and add as you need it. Okay, so we'll get it all mixed up. When you make coleslaw, you know, you're adding some salt and pepper, but you don't need to with the seasoning and the mayonnaise. Now, if you notice, I've got a little bit of shaved carrot here. I just use a potato peeler and some red cabbage, but it's mostly green cabbage, easier to work with, makes for a nice creamy coleslaw, and you just keep mixing it up and working it until it's done. And once that's all mixed up, you can see it's got a pinkish orange tone to it. You know, that's the paprika and the chipotle and all that mixed up, and you've got the color and the crispness from the purple cabbage or red cabbage and the carrots. Now all you're going to do is we're just going to cover it up, put it in the refrigerator until our ribs are ready. That way the flavors are really going to marry up. You're going to get a nice coleslaw with a very slight bite to it at the very end, you know, and it's going to have that smoky flavor in it from the combination of the chipotle and the paprika, which is in our dinner dust, or in our honey and heat rather. You'll have the dinner dust on the ribs. So when we come back, we're going to go out and check on those ribs. You know, I might want to mention that a lot of people look at barbecue as a food that if they want to lose some weight or eat a little bit more balanced, they look at it as something that's unhealthy. Now, what's unhealthy or potentially unhealthy is, you know, if you overuse your sauces, you know, if you eat nothing but barbecue. I mean, moderation is for everybody. But if you've got a really well-butchered piece of meat and all you're using is a dry rub, which is basically seasonings, you're putting out a healthy, really, meal. If you add a coleslaw or a vegetable or a salad, especially during the summer where your side dishes are mostly cold dishes, you'll find that you can actually grill a healthy lifestyle. You know, our rubs have been used by vegans. We get recipes in the time for black bean burritos. They use it on tofu, baked cauliflower with our rubs. So whatever your lifestyle is, whether it's paleo, keto, just a happy eater, or a vegetarian or vegan, we've got a rub that'll fit you. Now, normally we don't open our smoker for a good 2 hours into the smoke, but for the purpose of this, I want to show you how it's progressing. Okay, and you can still see some smoke coming up through there. It's got a long ways to go, so I don't want to lose too much of the temperature here, so we're going to kind of close it down. All right, and you can see right now it's right around 225. It'll climb up to around 275 once it's closed for a little bit. And that's going to help it cook nice and evenly. And with the smoke kind of wrapping around it as it goes, you get a great cook and a great flavor. Hey, it's John Furman here again from Bub and Mother's. You know, we use our honey and heat and our original Down East dinner dust as a combination on many of our meals. What we want from you is your imagination. Tell us how you're using it. Just send an email to bubandmothers@gmail.com. Tell us what you just used it on, and if we like it, we'll post your recipe with your name on our website. Thanks, and have a great day. Keep smoking. Oh yeah, there you have it. 3 hours of low and slow. And now we're ready to bring it in, slice it up, and have some dinner. So please join me. We'll be right back. All right. One of the advantages, again, of these heat gloves that I showed you is you can pick your rack up and simply slice down. And you go all the way through. Nice and easy. Some great tasting ribs. And again, the nice thing with spare ribs, you have that extra piece of meat on some of your ribs. It's kind of like a little surprise to keep you coming back for more. I'm kind of hoping that the flavor does that, but hey, a little extra protein for those who want it. Little mini ribs. What's nice is you can really see the smoke ring and be able to bite in for a great flavor. You know, these are just nicely done. Just under 3 hours, and we're ready to go. And there you have it. Smoked ribs, Bub and Mother's coleslaw. I mean, look at the smoke, the char. And all it was doing was cooking low and slow, about 250 to 270 degrees, for just under 3 hours until it was done. And this bad boy is just ready to eat. You know, you got your coleslaw. Sure, it's got a little bit of mayo in it, but, you know, the only thing that dressed it up was the honey and heat. We've got a regular rub on the ribs. So again, a not too unhealthy, whole lot of barbecue in one meal. So till next time, this is John Furman from Bub and Mother's. Remember, we're meat rubbed right. Keep smoking. We'll see you next time.